The years of speculation, casting rumors, crazy internet stuff, it's all finally come to a head. Iron Fist is out, and we're going to talk about the first 2 episodes and all of the thoughts that we have on this series on BHL's Iron Fist After Show. Hey guys, welcome to BHL Black Hollywood Live's first Iron Fist After Show. Oh my god, this is going to be a fun one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at BHL Online. Subscribe to us on YouTube, all those things. Business out of the way. Yes. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. And then we have assembled a fantastic team to defend or avenge Danny Rand, depending on your perspective on this show.
Let's take a guess.
See what I did there?
I was thinking Iron Team. Iron Team.
No, it's like a Justice League.
Iron Team?
Maybe Teen Titans.
Either way.
Teen Titans, yeah.
Young Justice. You're right. It's Young Justice.
No, God.
You're right, guys.
Okay.
And apparently we have to fight with DC.
Yes.
Anyway,
I
but we're going to break down episodes 1 and 2, Snow Gives Way, and Shadowhawk Takes Flight.
Yes.
Let's just jam to this song just a little while longer.
It is
still
sweet.
going.
It is still. Yes, thank you. Josh in the booth and knowing what's up.
Okay, great.
All right, but as I was saying, because I still haven't introduced you guys that I'm yelling at.
We'll
That's
get there.
We've assembled an amazing panel. Joelle Monique
Hi.
is here.
Hey guys, at Joe Monique. Find me all over the internet. At Joe Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
It's early in the morning here in LA.
so
So you'll have to forgive us. We couldn't wait.
And last night was St. Patty's Day, so...
It's true. So, make your own connections.
If I see the Jameson... No, I'm just kidding.
Andrew Mena.
That's me. I'm Andrew Mena. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to this after show.
And Rick Hong.
Hello, guys. I got my Wolverine shirt on, or my Logan shirt. Oh, okay. Wolverine.
So we're going to be doing we're
names.
binging today. So we're doing the after show for episodes 1 and 2 right now. After this, if you're joining us live, we're going to talk about episodes 3 and 4. Don't worry, no spoilers in this after show. We're only talking about episodes 1 and 2. And then we're going to take a 2-hour break so we can go watch episodes 5 and 6 and come back in here to talk about those episodes.
hop right
And we'll be
back
back
in.
next Saturday, March 25th.
Yeah.
Yes, 25th.
Sweet.
To talk about the next set of episodes. We'll figure out
Yes.
exactly how many we're going to be able to cover next week.
Hopefully
when we
a
get
lot.
There. A lot.
All of them.
You can also check out AfterBuzz TV, our friends, our sisters and brothers at AfterBuzz TV, who are going to be covering it weekly, doing a slow burn as they watch 2 episodes per week.
Oh,
Fools.
so sad.
There is only binge watching.
They're on like
Yeah.
some sort of
Join,
entertainment diet.
Join Jesse Klein, Katie Cullen, and a bunch of other folks
Oh,
over
it's like a
there.
good team though.
Oh, that's a good team.
Yeah. This is the first Marvel show I'm doing without Jesse Klein.
How do you feel?
Oh, wow.
Are you?
Separation anxiety.
Are you
I'm sure.
But I got a great team ahead anyway.
Yeah.
It's true.
Let's okay. Up top, I just want your guys' initial reactions to Iron Fist. The first 2 episodes. What are you thinking?
Oh man, the first 2 episodes were rough. I wrote several, I wrote check marks for things in these episodes that I loved, and in episode 1, there were only 3 check marks. I only had 3 things that I really enjoyed or loved or thought was like, yeah, this show's great. The rest of it, I was like, oh, why do I hate everyone in this show so much? Everyone's so hateable and awful.
Yeah, Aisha Gursawa, if you guys follow her online, she's pretty cool. She runs a bunch of sites. But she was saying that it's an interesting choice to make Danny stupid, essentially. Why does he have no forethought to anything? I don't understand. I'm hoping that we get some answers soon as to why, maybe there's a reason for this irrational train of thought, but we don't have the answers to that yet, and it's a little frustrating.
It is. These first 2 episodes are. It's.
Yes, frustrating.
It's hard.
Look, I really like the character of Danny Rand. I've been reading, I brought in my run of the immortal Iron Fist,
Nerd
which
cred.
this is I think my favorite story, which is I get why they couldn't do this story for Iron Fist, because the immortal Iron Fist storyline is like a tournament between the 7 cities of heaven where they each send their champion to fight a mystical battle.
It's not
that
a
sounds
first
way
chapter.
more dope
Sounds
than,
like Planet Hulk, right?
are you kidding? That sounds like a way
but-
better show.
Yeah,
but like there's I
But
also
have to like do
didn't-
everything, all the
Yeah, it would
all
be
the
more
everybody
expensive,
else.
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I also didn't want to. I don't know why we're starting Iron Fist with this corporate like takeover part
Batman
of his
Begins.
story.
Yeah,
Batman
weird
Begins, but like
twist.
without all the interesting stuff.
Yes.
It is so Batman-y.
Because here's what's frustrating me up top. Well, all right, we're gonna break this whole
Okay.
thing
Yeah,
down.
we're gonna-
So.
Let's go through it.
And like towards the end of this one, I want to talk more specifically about like the choices going into this, because do you guys feel like you need to get that out up top?
I feel good about it, that there are concerns about the show. Sometimes I get these glimpses of glimmering hope, and I'm honestly hoping what we have is Netflix pulled a reverse. Netflix, especially with their Marvel shows, has had this consistency where they're like so good at the top, and then they have these long lulls in the middle, and then they like kick butt at the end, and that's been their trajectory. So I'm hoping that they were trying to flip the switch, and they're like, we'll get the boring stuff out of the way up top, and then we'll give you like the real like meaty parts. And since no one's seen, I mean, some of you have now finished the series, but as reviews were coming out, they only had seen the first 6 episodes.
Yeah.
My deep
they're
deep
lucky.
hope is that the final 6 really bring something home. So that's where I'm at now. I'm concerned, but I'm still in it.
It is.
yes.
It is the hardest character to do on TV.
I disagree.
See, I think that Jessica Jones was great, and I think she was like how they introduced her and everything, because she's not a real common. Iron Fist is at least like there's some like superpower to him. With her, I thought they did a really really good job at introducing who she was and like in her character development.
Yeah,
Well, this
that's-
guy, so I guess I disagree with that one a little bit.
That's what I mean though. I think that Jessica Jones was, in terms of what adapts to television well. Jessica Jones is probably the easiest because her powers are very limited. You don't need a lot of these you don't need big effects. It's a noir story. Even when you read Alias, like that is a gritty, just like street level story.
Or you can turn it into just kind of it's a detective story.
And it's,
Yeah.
like
and
a
it's
television.
not.
Okay.
It's not like they didn't need to adhere to the book, and they didn't. And with Iron Fist, there's such a vast realm of things to pick from. It's not like Jessica Jones, where there's a very limited amount of her story.
But I feel like there are
there's
simple choices that could have been made, such as Danny is consistently hilarious in the comic books. He's got this amazing sense of humor, and that's completely missing from the show. And it's based off like 70s like kung fu movies, but you have a bevy of those to draw from, which I see none of it in
Let's
the
start
show.
with where we meet Danny Rand, and that's
perfect.
where we meet homeless.
Wait. So can we show these guys your?
So I don't just dress like this normally, but I've had this in my closet for years.
man.
For I don't know, I can't defend what
Just
reason.
for this reason.
Yeah, it was. I literally
was
bought it years
destiny.
ago. But like, I decided to just go full out, so I got like I don't even know what the poncho.
Yeah, the poncho,
style.
yeah. It's a poncho,
And
surfer
I'm
poncho.
straight up barefoot.
Straight up barefoot. Those feet are
Even
dirty
though
now.
most of you can't see, and like
Can't
I
be
didn't,
Manhattan
I
City
didn't
dirty, though.
get here barefoot. I wore shoes outside. This
He's
is Los
messing you guys.
Angeles.
He is barefoot.
This is Los
Away from
Angeles.
home.
I don't need a needle in the foot.
And Zach doesn't normally have a beard either.
Oh yeah, he grew it just for this, you guys.
just for today.
We put a lot of work into today's show, you guys. I really appreciate it.
But anyway, so we meet Danny Rand. Like he's walking the streets homeless. I liked the first moments of this. Like like the wandering in, and like it did feel like Danny Rand for like the first like minutes where he's like sort of just like this sense of wonder and like, oh look, this thing's so cool. This wasn't here before, and he's playing with the touchscreen table in the lobby.
I wish he really played with it. He just kind of looks at it like, oh, this is technology, what? And he doesn't like play with it or really have fun with it in any way. He's just like, this is happening. Oh no, I'm being escorted away.
Well, then his dead dad's picture pops up on it, so you
heartbreaking.
don't really want to play.
yeah, the play is ruined.
I thought it set an interesting precedent for who Danny is, because he seems so comfortable in a place where he should clearly be like the outsider. But there seems to be no discomfort or questioning in his nature, and so I think that that's such an interesting like cornerstone for the character going forward.
Yeah. Like
The first.
And he talks to the receptionist. He's just like, "Hey, you weren't here before. What happened to so and so?" That's exactly what I would
like,
do if
I
I
don't
came
know.
to like some old office and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what happened to
Jerry.
even though it's like 15 years later, exactly.
Yeah. I felt like we have this really weird contrasting image of look at this barefoot guy with his crappy beard walking up to the embodiment of capitalism. Bum bum bum. And I was just gonna waltz in. Is this guy crazy? Like it felt very heavy-handed. Like this is how you were clearly on this homeless man's side because the man is trying to keep him down. So it was just a very silly image, and I wish especially because this is like we were talking about a lesser known hero that we don't all have the backstory to, and essentially he is like a Batman-ion wandering.
Billionaire orphan,
in
sure.
this first episode, he is an orphan who sneaks around like that. He is essentially Batman in year one. So I wish there was a little bit of give us him as a kid so we care about him at all. No, we just have a crappy homeless man right now.
Or even if we could have gotten an opening montage of his journey to this point.
Yeah.
It is a very immediate drop off, and because of the direction of the show, seems like they're gonna do a corporate espionage thriller kind of thing.
Right.
I guess it works. I'm trying to view the show as what did the creators intend instead of what I was hoping for, because I feel like at this point, I obviously have a lot of gripes with the show. There's obviously a lot of things I wanted from the show that I'm not going to get. So, let me try to enjoy what I did get.
That we see anyways.
Yeah. So I'm trying to enjoy what they did give me. And I feel okay, if we're going to go corporate espionage, it's an interesting way, but I think that there's a lot more that they could have done to give us the full character of Danny Rand in that first opening moments. Luke Cage in the barber shop is such a great, he's a neighborhood guy who, wants to help. Jessica is drunk, I think, in her first scene.
It says everything about who they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do we meet Matt Murdock? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember
the
the
first episode of Daredevil
Man,
season one.
I know it's because we've had 2 seasons of Daredevil, so it's wait a minute.
You guys vamp.
I
I'm just gonna
want
pull
to
up
throw
Netflix.
this. I just want to throw this out that I think the biggest cognitive dissonance is, like you said, it is a corporate espionage. What should be a 70s kung fu movie.
Yeah,
And I just watched The Get Down too. So you see The Get Down and you see what they're able to do with just the stylization of filming. And oh, come on. I know you're doing something that is in world with Jessica Jones and Luke Cage and Daredevil, but you don't have to shoot it the same way. And it feels like they're just we have to though.
Well, this is the flaw, and something that I had talked about, I know on Marvel movie news and stuff, was I feel like this could have just been a movie.
Like
for
a
Netflix.
single one movie,
If they
sure.
had taken the budget that they had for this whole series and crushed it, because immediately, here's where I think Iron Fist works as a character in the books. He is fun when he's in the mystical world, but why he works as when he gets to Heroes for Hire and he's the street level guy is because you've taken this guy who's a mystical, world-saving being, immortal weapon, should be with the Avengers saving the planet, but he's just working for cash. It's that's a contrast.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But you're starting him out at the street level. We needed to see Kunlun. Is it Kunlun or Kunlun?
They're pronouncing it Kunlun on the show.
But I always thought it was Kun. I feel like I'd always had Kunlun in my head.
Yeah.
Kunlun's
To
with 2
KL.
O's, but I don't know.
Either way, Kunlun.
Yeah.
I want to see him go from this golden city in heaven.
Yeah.
He
It is
left heaven. You're right, Zach. He left
Absolutely.
heaven, and we get no none of that. And I just feel there's so many important moments.
So that's where it should have started. Do you think that's where the pilot should have started, somewhere up in there,
Absolutely.
and then as opposed to on Earth, him walking into a corporate office?
I could have
110%.
started here and then, but I needed immediate flashbacks to see what he had been going, see where he came from. This is a kid. So, so the story that we have so far, he was in a plane crash with his parents. That's not the story from the books, and I'm not nitpicking as a comic book fan.
Because you the change a little bit.
I don't need I don't need it to be identical.
For listeners who don't know, what is the original comic book story?
I was getting there.
I'm so sorry. I'm really excited to find out because I don't know.
Oh, okay. So,
listeners.
Danny and his parents and along with Harold Meacham are hiking through the mountains of Kunlun, or they're looking for Kunlun. I'm pretty sure they were looking for the city.
Yeah. I think you're right. You're on the right
I
path.
feel like I'd heard a version at one point, but I'm like, no, they're looking for Kunlun as this mystical, this legend of a city. When they are attacked by wolves, Danny's father is like dangling from a cliff, Mufasa style, with Harold there, and Harold throws him off.
Scars him. Damn.
That's so cool.
And then the wolves are coming for them. Danny's mother, who Harold's like, come be with me. It's real weird.
Because it's gross.
No, it's like what The Walking Dead, like Rick and his buddy.
Yeah.
But like way more pointed. Because it wasn't like, oh, he died by accident. It's like, no, I didn't save. I intentionally didn't save you. She gets killed by wolves trying to protect Danny, which is when the monks find Danny, save him, and he gets brought to Kunlun.
Interesting.
So based on that, I would bet the plane was sabotaged. But so Danny, so far, how I got started, like what we've seen so far of Kunlun is just like poor, like low quality green screen effects atop a mountain. Mm-hmm. It's not even good green screen. Like it's so obviously CGI just a person into like a background. And I get that it's memories, so like there's some there
could be a little bit of
stylize.
haze. You can have a little haze,
stylize a little bit because of that. But what I wanted from Danny was I wanted to see his fall after he makes this. The Iron Fist is not supposed to leave.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing with Kunlun is that it only appears every 10 years, and he goes into this like at least briefly. It only appears every 10 years or so.
But in this one he says 15.
Oh, 15. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I wasn't sure if you were talking about the book. Like in this one he was like saying 15 because I was trying to do the math and I was like, okay.
It's 15. Like, but they, instead of just establishing this beautiful world, that he leaves to like go do his, like go back to like what was his world. He just like we just meet him homeless and like fighting against like Donald Trump Jr.
I feel like what we're getting at is like what, because I was watching the show, I was thinking a lot about what is the cornerstone of this show. Like Jessica's cornerstone is like physical and emotional abuse and overcoming not just that, but then the abuse she puts herself through afterwards. Luke's is about redemptions, and Murdoch's is about proving that he is not anything less now that he cannot see, essentially. With that, like, to do like just corporate doesn't have the heart of any of those previous shows, and I feel like they made his cornerstone, as you were saying earlier, the same as Batman's, which is like, I lost my parents and now I'm sad, which is never Danny in the comic books. Like, he's obviously, when you lose your parents, it's awful, but he always found, like, he's the optimist, he's the heart of the group, and at this point, I have no idea how this guy is gonna, like, how this version of Danny is gonna be the heart of any group. He's in no comedy.
Yeah, I also kind of felt like, didn't they kind of do, it felt like that's what Daredevil season 1 was anyways. It was already kind of corporate. Yeah. It was like him versus some bigger organization.
We're going to do it again, but now he has a beard.
Yeah, and at least with him it made sense because he's an attorney. Yeah. He's an attorney, so it kind of makes sense to go corporate. Whereas Dan is just like, I'm a bum right now.
Also, sorry, we'll get into that later.
And here's the thing, like, Jazz 41173 in the chat has a good point. This is all our expectations. And like that's fair. Like it is reasonable that like my expectations and what I want is not necessarily what they're going to deliver. Let's talk. Let's get some positivity going.
Okay.
What did you guys like in these episodes? Because there is stuff to like. Like that's the thing. I think there's a certain like there's people that want this to be bad for different reasons, or like it's been like. People have been like worried about it for so long. There's this fear, and people are just like ready for it to be bad, as opposed to like going into Daredevil, where people were ready for it to be good. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, we were ready for it to be great.
But Daredevil, it's like, I mean, anything's a step up from the movies, right?
Yeah.
Like it's, you know.
Well, and this is the first live time we've ever gotten a live action Iron Fist, so that's exciting in and of itself.
Absolutely. I can bring some positivity here as I do my brief scan notes.
Is it going to be Colleen Wing?
You know, we're going to get to Colleen.
Jessica Henwick, she's great.
Well, Jessica's amazing. If you haven't seen her training videos on YouTube, I highly recommend them because girlfriend kicks butt. But no, I'm going to actually talk about our villains. Ward and Joy. Villains. We're not quite sure where they lie on our spectrum of good and bad yet, as Marvel tends to have that nice grayscale, which of course we love. I really enjoy. I love like classic douche, and I'm excited that they went with like the '80s like.
Quote it.
I love classic douche. I love that they went like super 80s, like greed is good villain with Ward Meacham. He is fun. He's totally has that punchable face.
He does. Very punchable
I'm
face.
looking forward to finding out where this rage comes from. But you know, they always get to that with their villains. The villains always kind of seem at first one-dimensional, and then they do this great display of like, oh no, there's so much depth here. I'm excited to get to know Ward, and I'm also very excited to get to know Joy.
Joy seems much more interesting to me than Ward. By the way, don't be named Ward in the Marvel Universe. You're just going to be an asshole. This is the second Ward in the MCU, and they're just always assholes. The other one was a Nazi. Like,
So yeah, it's not a good look. It's
Not a good name.
No, I mean, it's also nice to see like Jessica Stroup, who's playing Joy, being an adult, as opposed to like at least the kind of last time that I've seen her, she was like 90210 teenager, and now she's an adult, and seeing like what she's gonna do with this role and that character.
And I believe her in the like upper like New York high
Oh,
business. Like there's no sense of faking that with her. And
She looks
I
good in
think,
her outfit, and
They both fit that world really well. I totally agree. Does anyone else think that Ward kind of looks like Justin Long if they put him in like a Captain America injection of douchebaggery? You know what I mean? Like he's just bigger, meaner, awfuler.
my only thought watching it is that slicked back hairstyle. I'm like,
Gordon Gekko-esque.
I was just like, that looks like the Trump kids.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Because he's
probably what
acting
they're
like an
doing.
asshole. He's running a company, and like, he's like, even if this was our childhood friend, we got to protect our corporate
is
assets.
he Don? Is he Don or is he Eric? Because clearly he's not Baron.
Either, but
Joy
like
is Baron.
they clearly don't want us to like this guy, so I have to. Although they give us like these weird like glimmers of like he regrets it. But then he's like full on like, well, I'm still gonna do it.
yeah.
But,
Well,
like, I don't know if that's enough to forgive him though, because it's like, yeah, this is a real douchebag thing to do.
Although, okay, so if we're not looking at Danny as our hero and we're just putting ourselves in the story, I feel like Ward has a lot of really good points in the initial interaction with Danny.
Yeah, a lunatic walking into your office.
Yeah, like, first of all, where the hell is security? Like, this guy got up, I'm very upset with you guys. And then for him to be like, I'm your dead friend, it'd be like, whoa, but we buried that guy. He was, like, part of our family. How dare you? So, again, I'm hoping we get some more groundedness in him, but I like what we're seeing so far.
It is also, like, I appreciate that this show doesn't fall into the, like, I know I haven't seen you in 20 years or 12 years or whatever it is, and they're like, but I can still tell that it's you.
Yeah, that's straight up do not
Like,
believe.
Joy at least is like, he looks like Dave, but she's like, but it can't be.
Yeah.
Because look, if you saw any of us at 12 and then us at like, how old is he, 25, 30?
Yeah. 15 years, Tisperty was 10.
So, you couldn't tell. Maybe if you held up a picture, you'd be like, oh yeah, I can see that.
Well, maybe if you got a haircut and he like shaved, maybe, right? Just maybe.
Yeah, he
There's
grows
that
his hair
baby
back
face.
to that
But like he
length that
doesn't,
it was.
like I guess he doesn't have any like clear identifying like marks, like a birthmark.
No. He looks pretty like, like a curly-haired white guy with like a beard. Like he looks like so many people.
Yeah, Andrew.
I mean,
Or me.
I mean,
I thought it was weird that Danny didn't kind of fight back with Joy. She's like, you died. No, I didn't die, though. I feel like Danny does not do a good job of convincing people that he's Danny.
No.
He's a really weak, like, there's no, like, let me try a different way to convince you. Here's, like, he kind of gives you that, here's secrets only we can know, but I feel like if you have that close of a relationship, you should be able to go much deeper with some history.
Like immediately, like be like that thing we used to do, like the M&M, like.
yeah.
Like, I would have brought up something like that,
you used to
like,
suck
right
on
away.
your thumb. Zach, when you were 5, I remember we were here and there. Yeah, I would start like just rambling off stories to each person saying this, and this, and this, to have at least be like.
He did start with like the soccer thing, but again, like that's not that personal.
No, right. I love the Eminem thing, by the way. I just wish that we would have gotten like one frame of reference for like, oh look, here's another flashback of them as kids. There's the Eminem thing. Now you understand.
Once they established the Monopoly flashback stuff.
Exactly. They could have had that within the Monopoly flashbacks. They didn't even need to say it. They could have just shown it.
What did you
know
guys
I mean?
think of that like whole sequence?
Hold on, for the Eminem things, that's from Van Halen, right?
Is it?
Wait, what?
Van Halen. Okay, somebody clearly was a Van Halen fan who read this.
That's funny.
So
They would
Van
only-
Halen, when they would tour, they had their writers saying specific things. We need to have waters, this, and this. And in one of the things, to make sure that they were actually reading the writer, they said, we want M&Ms, no, but without the brown M&Ms. It was, and so like they knew if they came in and they had like the M&Ms that were brown in there, then they knew
That's
the person did not read the contract.
See, I wish we had like so a lot of people talk about how good
but
that's a great.
I was laughing when I was watching. I was like,
great
"That's
story.
Van Halen."
That's amazing. I feel like that's a really I wish we had some Van Halen music
Yeah.
around here. I feel like I like the soundtrack for it, but it doesn't feel grounded in hip hop. Like the story itself doesn't feel grounded in hip hop. And I'm like, where is this music coming from?
Yeah.
Like I get that Danny has all these old songs on his podcast, but again, we have no like real connection to him and these memories and how it like got him through and why this music is important to him.
Yeah.
But that if the kids are like young like rock stars and listening to music and like they don't do that because of Van Halen, like that would have been a really sick moment.
It's like all about framing and even giving us a Guardians of the Galaxy moment at the beginning where they're listening
Oh
to
my
the
gosh,
music.
yes.
You're like, oh, okay, great. Now I'm on board. He's listening to this music all the time. I'm grounded. He's in his past. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so far, like the only connection with the iPod is like I get it. Like this
Is
was
that
this
he
was the
has
music
one.
that he had,
Yeah.
and it was all his connection to this world. Still questioning how he powered that thing.
Right?
Also, my
Iron
iPod,
Fist, man.
iPods don't last more than 2 years.
I was about to
Cool.
say, I
Let's be
wrote
clear.
down that he has crazy headphone game. He has headphones that he's kept fine, earbuds that he's kept fine for 15 years. Yeah, that guy is.
Danny
is
has
clearly
few
godly.
possessions and he takes very good care of them.
Clearly.
I was like, if that's
Monk's
all
taught
you
him well.
have, I would be like, and wrap gently and place down gently. This is it. That's all I have. I did like him breaking into his old house, which we now know
Yeah,
is Joy
right.
and Ward's house. I thought that seemed kind of
Just Joy.
cool. Oh,
No, it's just Joy. It's Joy. Because,
just Joy's place?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just. I understand why you're confused by that.
Yeah.
Because I was watching at one point, my girlfriend was even saying like, "That's creepy," and I was like, "No, it's just her house."
Yeah,
Copy.
he just has a picture of her brother
and
because
Ward
it's her brother.
sometimes is there. Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So
You know, I have some stuff to say about their relationship, but
It
we'll get
is,
to that.
yes.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, seeing him, like, break into the house was pretty cool. I liked the moment with the dog, but again, it feels like there's a beat missing at the end. Like, here's perfect joke time. Like,
Yes.
Danny Rand, I know, makes some jokes, or, like, is connecting with the dog more,
That's
or
one of my 3
something.
check marks, is
and
that
then for him
dog.
to, like, the dog is so cute.
Yeah.
Watching it go from angry to, like, super puppy face, I was like, cast this dog in everything. He is precious.
Why can't this dog be the Iron Fist?
No, that's way too far.
I like Kaylee Rose's thought from the chat, and I sort of had the same thought while I was watching that he must power his iPod with chi.
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
right? Yeah, no, I was thinking that.
He
Right?
just like, oh,
With the
low
energy of
battery.
the universe, so yeah, makes sense.
All right, full.
Love it.
I would actually buy that if they set that up in universe. Like, I'll
Yeah.
accept, you know what? I
I
will
would've
accept
loved to have
that as
seen that.
headcanon.
Yeah.
He can now
Okay.
power iPods with,
With
his
his
chi.
chi.
Done.
Love it.
Check
We
it.
just gave Apple an idea.
Boom.
Yeah, we just gave Apple an
Make
idea.
that
Apple.
commercial.
Yeah.
Cut us some stuff.
Oh man.
Right before they break it, right before he breaks into his own house, we see on the sidewalk outside that there's just a big heart that says "Mom, Dad, and Danny." Do you guys remember that? Just
I
written
do.
in finger marks. It's weird to me that that's still there. That like
No, man, it's concrete.
I know, but like
Yeah, but-
the most
well-
like they can throw away $100 million and they don't change the like. You know what I mean? Or move it, or put it at their grave.
I'll
or-
justify it.
I thought it was
I'll
weird.
justify it with 2 reasons. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the incident was not that long ago.
Okay.
It was maybe 7 years ago.
Okay.
In universe. So the city has a lot of like infrastructure that they need to put
So they're not
investment
worried
into.
about that
I see what you're
sidewalk.
Fixing
I
a
see what you're saying.
sidewalk,
Right.
not high
Oh, I wasn't
priority.
even saying like the city was going to do something. I just thought that like especially living. Yeah. Anyway, I guess it's different because it's Joy's house and not Ward's house. So that changes a little
Second
bit.
thing,
See what
I'll
the
bet
Joy
you
removed.
Joy
Yeah.
intentionally preserved that sidewalk.
I think you're maybe right because I was actually coming at it from the angle of like, oh well, Ward is a giant piece of crap and he's probably somehow involved in the death of the family. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm coming from.
It is. We're getting a little more of Joy's character especially than we are of Ward, because just the fact that she lives in that house, she could live anywhere. She's like running Rand Corp, $1 billion company. She got it made.
Well,
but
he's
she
also
showed
made it
an
like a
amazing
corporate housing
house.
house. You know, like, hey, you know, it was the Rand's house, but it's part of the corporation. So if whoever wants to
Belongs to the
live
trust,
there
yeah.
can move in.
But she
Which is a bit
chose to
morbid, too.
live there.
Which is a
It
bit
made
morbid
me-
too.
It is a little bit, but I also feel like if that was her, like, Ward is not the warm, fuzzy type. Like, dad's not around, mom's not around. Like, that's the last thing she had to Danny, and I think that says a lot about her connection to him as a person. And I feel like even if it was, because I think that's probably right, is like, we own the house, like, just go live there. But I think even if they didn't own the house, she would probably have bought it and preserved it. It seems like she wants to, because even she's like, but maybe it is. She just seems to be clinging very deeply to hope that it is Danny. Because I feel like that's probably the only bright spot that she's had in her life.
Yeah.
I think so far. Can we talk about the homeless guy now?
Al. Big Al.
Oh, yeah.
Second
Hold
check
on.
mark.
I
let's
do
not
want
go-
to
let's
get to
not-
Big Al,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
while we're talking about the Meachums, we
Yes.
need to talk about Harold Meacham.
Okay. Can I just say really quick that when I was like, David Wenham's in this? Down! I'm down to clown with David Wenham. David Wenham is Faramir, and he can lead me to the gates
No,
of
but I was
forever.
sick of that, dude. I was like, I didn't like that guy in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now he's here as a bad guy too.
Oh man, I love that guy.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Carl
It's like
the
he's
Priest
so-
from
yeah,
Van
that's what I'm saying,
Helsing.
though. He's so, like-
if you need a better role for him, like
He's easy to
he's
hate,
so funny.
which is
yeah.
great.
That's my point exactly.
And
He
he's
has
like
that-
in great shape for his age too. Like
He has
you're
that
like, oh,
blonde guy comb over that's like vaguely Nazi-ish.
Yeah.
Well, it's that like strong bridge nose too. Like
Yeah.
it has this very angular face that reads evil because I mean we've typecast villains to look a certain way. Like women have high cheekbones and the very like dramatic eyebrows. So yes, he was excellent when he showed up, and then for him to have shown up, period. I was
Oh, I
like,
know.
oh my god, no.
that was my third check mark. Dad is alive. What?
Yes, totally.
I like. I'm still torn on it because I need to get more on like the why,
I mean,
and they
Yeah.
don't even give us like
Yeah, not at
anything
all.
to go off of. They're just like,
Wait, why
by
he's
the
alive?
way,
wait, why he's alive? Or-
yeah,
Okay.
like why he faked his death.
Yeah,
I
there's,
mean,
there's confusion when I was watching it in terms of the father too. Is that I was watching it and I'm like, wait, the son knows he's alive, but the daughter doesn't.
Yeah.
I was confused there.
See,
To
and
me,
I
I was like, he just handed his company to the son. Then he just wants his son to have control, but he also wants to be like.
I actually
But
like
that's-
the
but
way
that's
this
why-
unfolded. I thought it like there's a lot of things that unfolded weird, and I'm like, I don't understand why these things are happening in the
Yes.
show. But this reveal worked really well for me. It was the classic soap opera reveal, which I know not everyone is down with the soaps. I don't like watch regularly, but when a soap opera dramatic moment happens, it's like very exciting for me. I'm like, this is crazy, and I don't know what's happening and what's gonna happen next. And then for him to like to see a character that's that in control without technically being in control of something. I like evil characters that can persuade people of their power without like lifting a finger.
Exactly.
I think that is like the real test of power. So
Yeah.
when Orm came back, I was like, we're gonna find out why. I'm just happy he's here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love him as a character. I'm so excited for him to just speak. Like, all of his speaking. And his American accent is pretty good.
Although I worry for his assistant.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I'm so worried for
poor
Kyle.
little Kyle.
Poor
Poor
Kyle.
Kyle.
I'm so worried for Kyle.
Kylo's like the opposite of every millennial I know, though, and I'm very concerned. I'm like, what kind of awful like home did you grow up in, Kyle, where you have like no self-esteem at all?
My thing is,
hell?
who did the vetting process?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're interviewing people, I mean, did he purposely be like, I'm gonna pick the weakest person,
Maybe.
to be
He
my
did
assistant?
make that speech about he was like, I want
yeah.
somebody who only dedicates their time to me and will be loyal.
Yeah.
how did he get this job? Like, how did anyone get?
I don't think you can apply on Indeed. Like,
But
there's
this
gotta
is
be.
that's what I mean.
Craigslist,
Like,
probably.
I think there is something coming that's very interesting about why this all went down. And I'm sure it's related to the hand, which we got like the name
and
teased in the
cancer
second
that he
episode.
had or whatever.
Yes,
Like, it's teased a little
If he had it at all, it was really that was
They
the
say
part
he
where I
died
was
of
like,
cancer.
Yeah,
they say he died of cancer, but then I was like, he's still here, so did he have it at all, or was that part of the faking it?
I just wanted like a reveal like that, like this guy that we just told you was dead is actually alive. I need something to like, even if you're gonna fake me out and it's a
Yeah.
completely different reason in reality, it's as of now it is unjustified, and I need more. And I assume that it's there. I can Marvel has earned my trust to this point that I'm willing to believe that it's there.
Yes.
I just wanted it sooner.
I totally understand that.
All right.
during I just want to say during his little speech segment during this, when Dad shows up and he's I'm alive, and he goes, what is he doing here? What does he want? Why is he just asks all the questions, and I'm like, why is no one else asking these questions? He's the only one of the competent characters at all.
Yes.
How did he learn martial arts?
How did he learn martial arts? Is he really Danny Rand? Why does no one else seem to care? In this
Why am I saying martial arts instead of just like, how does he fight like this?
Exactly. How does he know it's a martial art? Yeah, there's a lot of informed like assumptions a lot of people make in this show.
But like, I'm also willing to accept a little bit of that. I want to accept that because I want them to just like lean into like a kung fu movie.
Right.
Because in a kung fu movie, you're like the bad guy's like, how does he know martial arts like this?
Or
Like
how does he know the
that's-
mantis
Yes.
fist? Yeah, I wanted them to be more specific though, even and lean harder. Like,
Yeah,
I love
that's the
that.
thing. I think they're. I want them to just go full on into the kung fu the way that especially the first half of Luke Cage leaned into blaxploitation movies. But we haven't done that yet with this show.
We have not.
And they're like they're like doing this weird thing where they're like, we think we're doing How to Get Away with Murder or something.
Yeah, it is a little like that. Even to the point where Joy and Ward are like, maybe another company sent this character to convince us he was Danny to disrupt like proceedings.
Yeah.
I'm like, what kind of next level crazy are you guys dealing with where you're like, yeah, our competitors would send someone 15 years dead to just screw with us. Like that's some deep level espionage stuff. Usually it happens in the numbers.
I mean, I get that within the MCU there are a lot of billion-dollar companies, like a lot. Let's see, Stark, Rand. What are the other ones?
Well, because you
all
would
of
think
them.
if they were going to do that, he would walk in with dental records, like in a suit or something, a little bit more presentable.
Hammer tech.
You know, something to say like, I am this guy. You know, and I'm here to screw with you.
And see, I can already hear the counter argument, which is this. Okay, but he grew up in a foreign, like, a heaven city, not even on Earth, and he was 10 when he left, so maybe he doesn't know all, like, the social norms and stuff.
How
But the
anything
show didn't
works.
present us with
no
this,
iPod.
with this, like, infantilization of
got
him
that.
as a character. Like, we don't get the sense beforehand that he's stuck at 10, kind of mentally
they
for
do
Earth.
it subtly. Not that he's stuck at 10. They do it. They get his like, I didn't grow up in this society very
Yes.
subtly. Where I think that, I don't say this a lot, I think they needed to be a little more heavy-handed.
Just a little.
Because they're not
like,
they're so soft
with,
with it that it's not cute. It's irritating.
so like with Big Al.
Yes.
So you talk about
Okay,
Big
yeah,
he's just like, this is a guy. I'm gonna talk to this guy. He's not treating him like a crazy homeless man.
He does say, okay, like, I have so many issues with the scene. One, it's way too contrived that somebody's like, hey, do you want me to look up someone for you? I'm like, what, who, what, no. And that introduction to this character really upset me because I feel like there's a lot of easy ways to write out of that so that he can ask about the phone that we never really get to, and it's strange. Also, at one point, Danny says, I'm guessing people think we're a lot alike. And I was like, are you guys not alike? Like, in what ways are you not alike, except for the fact that he's not the Iron Fist?
Well, yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, one big way, he's an immortal weapon
This is
dedicated
true.
to fighting the forces
But
of
it definitely
evil.
felt like
Other than
this
that,
weird, like,
though, 100%.
superiority thing of, like, you have to be out here, and I choose to be.
Yeah.
It was just really weird to a guy who's being so nice and generous to
It's
you in this moment.
It's a lot of entitlement that Danny comes to the table with. Like, just speaking of like, oh, he doesn't live in this world, but when Colleen is putting up her posters for her class, he immediately rips one down. Like, she just put that up, dude.
That's my thought, too.
That's the rudest crap. Like, and that could have been really funny and cute if they would have highlighted it and had her be like, I just stapled that or whatever. But they didn't.
Yeah,
They were
or
just
like
no,
gone
he's
back
just-
to that one spot and looked at him and
Yeah,
click.
exactly. Anything, but they didn't. They kind of like no,
They
he's just kind of garbagey.
But you're right. Like, it was funny,
Yeah,
but
but they didn't let that moment
They didn't
linger.
play with it.
Yeah.
They created a funny moment and then didn't.
It passed
Brush
us.
right
Use
past
it.
Right.
Um,
So that's what I feel like this show is doing. It's like we have a lot of stuff written in that's gonna be pretty cute, but we're just gonna go right through it. Like
yeah.
So maybe
just
not
happened?
great directing.
yeah.
I mean, here's my basic question. So, clearly when you're watching shows, they're not done in, I mean, obviously with this, the deal that was done is like, okay, you're going to have a set amount of episodes so you can tell the whole story. But it's like you're an executive or you're like in the audience and you're just giving the presentation. Here is the pilot. What's your immediate reaction for that? Because for me, I'd like, dude, I wouldn't have even I would have tuned out. I would have tuned out, not, if just watching the first episode to be like, No, I wouldn't recommend the show to anybody. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah,
Even though I know it's based on this, but I
he's
don't
just
know.
not a very likable guy, and that's the unfortunate thing. Is like all of his like really cool sleuthing and Batman-esque stuff comes off really creepy. You know what I mean? It comes off creepy and like ill-advised. None of it. We don't understand that he's not educated enough to like, you know what I mean, like interact in the society. It sets up nothing and expects us to like give them so much benefit of the doubt, which is like great. We will because we're doing the show.
Well, and
also we
because
wanna
it's
watch
Marvel.
It, but-
Like, I feel like maybe they felt they had some leeway. Like, we've got 3
Yes.
successful shows under our belt.
Yeah.
And maybe this is their attempt to try something new, and maybe it just didn't hit. Like, I'm not... Like, I don't want to come down so hard on this. Again, I see, like, little gleams of things where you're like, these are really smart ideas that just don't quite get carried to fruition. And even Big Al says at one point, don't forget to have fun along the way. And I really wish the show had taken that to heart a little bit. Because I just, like... You get the sense that Danny, like, cares, but you don't get that, like, playful energy with anybody. And
Everybody's cold.
Everyone is
everyone.
Yeah.
And then when we are supposed to juxtapose that to, like, the kung fu aspects of it, like, we get this great, what I assume is Chinese New Year, where he's walking through the street and there's this party. How many times we saw this in the whole mask in the crowd thing? We've seen it in Westworld. We saw it in Spectre.
We've seen it in Count of Monte Cristo. We've seen it in like every movie.
How
like,
did this scene not work? Like, why was this not terrifying? Why could I track him the entire time?
Yeah.
I was like, guard, he's right there, bro.
Yeah,
like, he is right there. You could see him.
It was a little silly.
It was frustrating.
Okay, we gotta talk about. We gotta go into the mental hospital.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Because like we're running low on time, and there's a lot.
You're right.
So we're gonna run a little over. But we'll
There's a
make
lot
up
in
the
that
time.
first
We have a
episode.
full day of
Yeah.
Iron Fist. So
You're right.
But so we gotta talk about this. But the Meachams commit who they don't believe he's Danny to this mental hospital.
Joy drugs him.
She straight up jugs it.
But
That was
again,
messed up.
It was messed up, but I can understand why it happened. First of all, it's probably a plan that she had come up with Ward. With Ward. And like there's it's this crazy dude.
I'm not
He's
even mad.
stalking
It's
them.
legal. It's at least legal to put someone in a psychiatric ward.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm not even mad at Joy. Like, if some guy was harassing me to that point, like came in my house, locked my dog in a room, like is saying all this kind of unbelievable stuff, like I'm not even mad at her. It was just unexpected. Like to me, that shows me a whole other side of her character. Like, Joy could be ruthless if she wants to, and now I have to side-eye Joy. Like, what are you doing?
like-
It was cool, because what we love about Marvel shows, or especially what I love about Marvel shows, is how diverse the characters can be, and how at any point in time they can be good or bad. And that, like, to see Joy be like, yeah, I drugged him, we had to do something. It was cool.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It gave her strength.
I don't know. I wasn't sure how to feel like when we're in the hospital. This like weird one flew over the cuckoo's nest esque like.
It was Chief.
I was so worried
Big
for
Chief?
Simon. Like Simon was like so nice that I was like, or like, well, after he like tried to stab him
With a fork,
Yeah.
yeah.
After that though, he was like so nice that I was like, oh no, he's gonna die. So I'm still worried.
If that was your first thought, because my first thought was like, who lets that guy give tours?
Yeah,
I'm like,
that guy was having that free run of the hospital. That guy let him out.
I'm really concerned about this mental institution.
Yeah.
There seems to be no rule or reign or rank until suddenly someone decides that there should be. It's very scary. I was worried for Danny the whole time. I'm like, you could get jumped at any point, and they're keeping you drugged up, which is scary.
And literally everyone there seems to be like some sort of enforcer. They're all there to tackle the people. Like that's all they're there for.
Can they force drugs on someone like that?
Yes.
Like he was not like. Let's be clear. He was not arrested.
Right.
He was just brought to this place. Like the police never had Danny in custody.
Right.
So are you like that's a real thing?
Yes. If you are brought to a mental institution and you cannot be deemed of sound mind right away, they have, as they say, up to 72 hours to hold you. They did it with a woman in New York 2 years ago. People were like, she's talking crazy talk. She says Obama follows her on Twitter. They took her phone, they locked her up, they drugged her, they ran a bunch of psych evaluation tests.
Man.
Turns out she's totally sane. Obama was actually following her, and she was released like 2 weeks later, but it took a lot, like, it was not as easy as Colleen Wing coming to get her. Like, it was her whole family being like, this woman has, like, a lifelong career. She's never had any mental issues. Like, she's fine.
Wow.
Let her out.
That's a major lawsuit.
Yes, but it's not that hard to get admitted.
Well, admitted, I get, but the drugs, like
You're
forcing them down the
forcing
throats.
drugs on a person that part.
Yeah, no, if you're
I mean, it's
in there,
gross as hell. Like, it's
Gross.
greasy. Like, this hospital was super greasy. Like, it's a greasy ass hospital.
Yeah.
Man, and like that orderly, somebody break his nose,
Right? Waiting for it.
Like,
Yeah, but you always have to have one of those guys. You know what I mean?
I mean, this show is full of those guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
Like everyone but Danny, pretty much, and the women are supposed to be very punchable. Like, it seems like.
Yeah.
There's no male character besides like Kyle maybe, and then it depends on who you are.
And
'cause you
Kyle
might
is very
really wanna punch
slappable.
Kyle.
No,
Like, you
don't want to punch him.
get it
you just wanna-
together.
yeah. And you want to do the back of the hand, not the front of the hand. You
Yes.
want to
Okay. I thought you meant back of the head, and I was like, oh, come on, you can learn another
Hey,
way,
that
you
too,
guys.
we do that too.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Zach. Okay.
no, but by the end, just to speed things along, like the hospital stuff, like we can get into specifics. We don't need
I
to.
mean, we really don't.
I'm glad they didn't
kinda
spend a lot of
boring.
time.
Yeah.
Colleen does come
That would've
for
got
him
really
after
I would have been
being
so
offered.
upset if we had finished this episode still in the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would have been mad.
Yeah.
But like Colleen, so like, let's divert for a moment,
Yes.
just because where the episode ends is from the hospital. It's back to Colleen.
Yes.
Yep.
Another thumbs up. Colleen is great.
I really like the character they're creating. I want more of her.
I'd really like to know who she is as a
Yeah.
human being.
Yes,
What
where
are
she
her
comes from.
motivations and
Yeah.
desires? I feel like
I mean,
Colleen.
her desire. She wants to protect these kids. I want a window into why.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, we know she has the dojo. We know she likes the kids. We know she's really into her training, and that she is attempting to follow the tenements of that training
And she has kids jump her on the street as a test.
as a test. You know,
'Cause,
she's
you know,
she's
look,
a little
kids,
adventurous.
If you're gonna live in New York City, you gotta know how to jump people.
Not just defense.
effectively.
I could smell the
kids,
garlic on your
offense.
breath from like.
Yeah, like, dang.
First of all, good nose, Colleen. That's impressive.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with knowing martial arts.
But if you got a good nose, though, that's a good
Like,
start.
I like the
Yeah.
actress playing her. There's like a lot of good energy there. I just feel like I don't know enough about her. If this was my only introduction to Iron Fist was this show, I'd be like, why is she here?
Yes.
And particularly, like when Danny calls her and is like, I'm in a mental institution. The richest family in New York is coming for me. I need your help. Like, click.
Yes.
You're just so crazy. How did you get this number? Like, I guess that's the one on her poster. Maybe it's supposed
Yes.
to be.
I will say, yeah, that's how we got the number.
Okay.
But I will say, I'm willing to understand why she like wants to follow up and like see who this person is, because she's seen him fight. And as somebody who trains fighters, she has to be aware that like that's not like a normal level of skill.
Right.
Those guys come at him with guns
yeah.
and billy clubs, and he just like
Takes them all down.
takes them down like with like his fists and feet.
Yeah.
From a story perspective, was impressive. I will say the fight choreography in this show leaves a little bit to be desired,
It's
and I
just
don't
so
know.
slow.
It's a combination of the choreography, which is not bad, but it's just
Very
not hitting the point.
deliberate.
It's the choreography in concert with the directing is just not hitting the marks, or the editing. Something about the how it got from the choreography to the final product doesn't quite connect. It's slow moving.
It's a little stiff, right? It's like, I mean, like when you're watching like real kung fu movies, I mean, there's like this like blatant like what? Like you see
Yeah.
like some very like a lot of. I
Absolutely.
mean, I know it's a little stereotypical, but if that's what we're talking about, what we want,
Yeah.
that's what we want to see. Whereas
that
this is,
energy, yeah.
yeah,
There's
this is like
somewhere
it's a
in
little
the middle
stiff.
of that, and like, look, Iron Fist should have the best fight choreography of
Yes.
every Marvel show.
Absolutely.
Daredevil has it outshined by a mile right
And
now.
like, yeah, it's frustrating, man.
I
'cause
did
it's like,
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, all right. Oh, the chat thinks that Weapon X. Did anyone feel like Danny keeping secrets from Joy? Wait, there's a lot of comparisons to Arrow.
Yeah.
For multiple people.
Okay.
If we're gonna compare things to other shows, let me just say that in like most of the other like hero shows, we have a moment where superhero character goes, "I'm a superhero," to a sidekick character, and sidekick character goes, "Whoa!" And we as the audience need that moment to be like, "Yeah, wow, someone believes him now. He has someone on his side. We can struggle together. We can move forward because now one person is in his corner. He doesn't have anyone that believes him. Not one person. Not even when he gets out of the hospital. Like the therapist that was starting to come around is now like, oh, he broke out. Like I don't know how to feel about this, you know?
Yeah.
Though I guess he does believe in the Iron Fist part.
I
Probably.
kind of wanted the kids at the.
Okay, as we
Therapist
wrap
becomes
out
his
this
sidekick.
episode,
That would be better.
we gotta finish so we can go start talking about episodes 3 and 4.
Okay.
Be sure to stay around if you're watching live for that, or just if you're not, just click the next one.
Yeah.
That works too. We're not wrapping out.
We got
We're not
time,
wrapping out,
Josh. There's
Don't
so
turn on
much
that
to
music.
talk about,
Stop that
Josh.
music.
Hold your
Put it
phone.
on pause.
I am sorry.
That's better.
All right.
Sorry.
All of that aside, and this, my enthusiasm was only tempered because we saw it in trailers. Oh my God, the Iron Fist looks awesome. I liked it. I thought it looked. I thought the way that they pulled this off for live action, I really like it. I didn't need, like, in the books and in the cartoons that we've seen, the Iron Fist is like very the glow, like it goes outside of his hand, and like that's the design. But I sort of love the idea that it's all internal.
Yeah.
That it's the chi inside his hand. It doesn't need to be external, like around his fist.
Right.
No, it's all within him.
Yeah.
That he can just like make it glow,
See-
and then, bam.
I like that.
I thought
that's
great.
where they use the money for, the CGI money. You're talking about how Kunlun looks so bad, and they saved it for the they saved the money on the hand.
Can we do a
I'm
green
not-
screen for Kunlun?
I'm not a
That hand,
CGI.
though.
I'm not a CGI expert. That was like it was
really
good.
good.
I liked it.
That is
I would
not
totally
like
agree.
crazy difficult CGI.
I feel
work.
like I do like the way the hand looks. I kind of wish we maybe saw more of his arm. I know, but like it would be really cool if we could see like the chi aspects of it
Flowing,
instead of
yeah.
just
Flowing,
here. And then I also feel like maybe the first reveal of the Iron Fist was like,
Yes. A little underwhelming.
and again, it could maybe if the room had felt tighter, like in Daredevil's first hallway scene, where it feels like impossible odds. Like, of course, now you have to use the Iron Fist, but I'm just like 3 guys in this room. That's when you need the fist. And I know
But
he's been
he's got a
drugged.
straight
He's been
jacket on
trying.
too. He's got a straight jacket on.
But he's got a
too.
straight jacket on. He's under all kinds of drugs, and I liked the build up with. Nothing was ever as clear as when I was getting hit.
That part did
And
resonate.
that was really cool. That like
Yes.
as he's doing it, like that was like where I started. I'm like, yeah. Like
Yeah.
as soon as he gets hit, I'm like,
Uh-oh.
oh yeah, his mind's coming
About to
into
get set
focus.
off, yeah.
And he's
There's
just like,
there's a little Hulkamania going on.
Yeah. I want to say regarding fight choreography, I think what you said is really like totally astute. Like what we were missing from is it was wide shots. We didn't have any fights that were wide shots. Everything was really
Yeah,
close
it was
and
cut in,
really
yeah.
shaky, like 99% shaky cam, which is fine and dandy for the last like 10 years. But if you look at like traditional martial arts, especially like Jackie Chan, like it's all like, comedy and action live in wide shots, so you can see what's happening, so you can see the like physical repercussions of things. And I feel like we're not living in any of the like the hits, the moments, nothing. It's all here's a fight sequence. Here's a fight sequence.
I also really enjoy fight sequences where the drama builds as you're fighting, where it's not like we're fighting to get a winner, but it's like, oh gosh, I have to fight this guy, and now this bigger guy comes in with a sword, and this guy's small, I could probably take him, but oh no, he's got like the fastest fist. Like, I
Right.
don't feel like we get any characterization of these villains, and this, like, they're faceless, but usually they have like big personality when
Right.
they're fighting, and we're
Some
missing
color.
that as well. Exactly.
We're missing eye patches and mustaches from all of these characters.
Yes, I want some personality in the people whose butts we're kicking.
You know what I mean? Like, give him something.
yeah.
Be like, oh, eye patch guy.
Yeah,
That
so you
guy's
want a guy
back.
with like a black shirt with white letters that says thug.
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Oh, thug guy's back.
But where we leave this episode with him punching through the door and then walking, I'm like, yes.
That was great. Yeah.
I want
That's
more of
what
that.
I would have wanted episode 1 to. I mean,
To
granted,
end.
you know,
Yes.
if it was
Yes.
a pilot, that's what I would have wanted to
That's
see.
what
is
I think.
That to be like, oh, and now I want to see the next.
You know
one.
what
That's the
almost
promise
would have been
we
a
needed
cool-
to watch more.
You know what almost would have been a cool way to do this if we started in the mental hospital.
Ooh,
like
yeah.
if we're coming in
might
cold,
have
like
been okay.
yes, we know who Danny Rand is as comic book fans and viewers. Like what if we had started in the mental hospital and like you give us an episode where we are legitimately questioning whether this guy is crazy or not?
I like that idea.
Because like the doctor makes it like the doctor brings up the incident because like I'm glad somebody like you're crazy, man. You don't have no powers. Like, do you see what happened? There's a portal in the sky.
Yeah.
And I like that the justification for that is like a lot of people have been claiming that they have powers and thinking that they have powers now because like if you live in a world where those things just exist,
Yeah.
everyone that is a little crazy would be like, no, see, like
The
crazy
voices
is
I'm hearing
real.
Are something else.
Yeah, the voices aren't in my head.
No.
They're a mystical energy force
Exactly.
from an ancient city across the Pacific Ocean.
Of course. You know how
I'm
that
from
goes.
heaven.
You know, one of the several.
One of the 7 cities of heaven.
Right.
Don't you know the myths?
Come on
that
now.
are not findable anywhere on the internet?
Can't
even
Google
though
the
I'll-
Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a clothing line and a beer.
can't Google
Period.
them.
Yeah. Anyway, I agree, Ron Corleone. If Turk doesn't make an appearance in the show, I will be disappointed. Miss-
Oh, wait, we have to mention one thing, and that
Yeah.
is just Meacham coming to visit Danny.
Yeah.
As a
Yes.
ghost or as a supposed ghost.
Yeah.
That is so. Meacham is okay. Like if I liked him in the first episode, I loved him in the second episode. I was like, this guy is amazing. The fact that he first of all has cameras set up to spy
He's
to
smart.
try to figure out
Super
like
smart.
these. I was like, not only is he smart, but he's far-reaching.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you can do that without having to leave is incredible. And then on top of that, for him to be brazen enough to go visit him at his bedside, this is the kind of villainry I
love
enjoy.
it.
I hope
Delicious
he is the
villainry.
main villain. Yeah.
too.
Well, because we had some issues with Luke Cage's villains where we had
Yeah.
Cottonmouth, who was like the most epic villain ever, and then Black Mariah, who was a great counterpart to that, and we got to explore great family dynamics in that. And then Diamondback came, and we were like,
oh.
okay, I guess.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was meh.
So I'm hoping,
Yeah.
I'm hoping Meacham and Ward are able to do that good Cottonmouth Mariah like back and forth family dynamics, and that we don't
And
necessarily
that's the
get
thing,
like
like-
a third not so great villain.
yeah, as we wrap out on this episode, because we were going to
We do got to wrap
get into
eventually.
3 and 4, we got to wrap quick. But we're just stick around. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I know that this show is going to get into those more mystical elements, like so. Without no spoilers, because we haven't seen this yet, but like I just know from casting, like I know Davos is coming.
Yeah, he is.
Like another like
Game of Thrones crossover?
weapon.
Sweet.
No.
No.
All right.
The whole city of Davos is coming. Calm
Sweet,
down,
sweet.
Andrew.
In for it, dudes. All
Davos
right.
the Steel Serpent, like another mystical fighter. I know he's coming. I saw like in the trailers, I saw what looked like the Bride of 9 Spiders. I'm
Oh.
hoping that pays off.
She doesn't have a metal thing with her name? The Bride of 9 Spiders doesn't have a metal thing. What was the other one? The other one had a metal thing.
Steel Serpent.
Steel Serpent, Iron Fist.
Well,
Bride of 9 Spiders.
The steel.
Come on, guys.
Look, the Steel Serpent and Iron Fist are very closely related. The Bride of 9 Spiders is another immortal weapon
Whole
from a
other
different one of the 7 cities. Look, there's a lot.
They're
of,
not all related.
Look,
You're
I don't
right.
know.
I'm sorry.
We could get. I don't
Very
know. We could
racist of me.
get Fat Cobra in here too.
Fat Cobra?
Fat Cobra's another immortal
Fat
weapon.
Cobra?
Yeah.
Well, where's the
Fat
medal?
Cobra.
Where's the medal of Fat Cobra? There's no medal.
They're
in
not all
Cobra?
metals. They're from
They're
different
not all
seasons.
from
I know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding.
You
I'm
guys,
just
get
kidding.
it together.
Fat Cobra's like
Doing
in the
bits?
books. He looks like this big sumo guy, but he just like, but it's all muscle.
Oh, I really wish Fat Cobra was tiny. Like, that's what I would have hoped. But yes,
I think
love it.
I think it's just the Cobra, and then like, but this guy's just really
really
big. So they're
They just really wanted to call
"You're
him
the-
fat."
You're the fat one. He's like, aw.
Oh, does he have a complex about it?
No, but like,
That would be such a great character.
that's me in my head. No, he's just like this big guy who's just like flanked by
Cobras.
women
Oh, okay.
at all times.
Awesome.
Yeah, but anyway.
Score.
All right, I feel like we're gonna go a little more over here, but I do think in our first episode we need to address this question:
Yes.
the casting.
Okay.
It wouldn't be we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we didn't address like the elephant in the room. The reason that people have people have been loud about like boycotting this show, which is a first for Marvel, like
Yeah.
straight up boycott a TV show. Although I say that and then I'm remembering Doctor Strange. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people forgot Doctor Strange.
That's true.
Like casting Finn Jones as Iron Fist. What are your guys' thoughts?
Man, okay. So I feel
Finn Jones the actor or Finn Jones as a white guy?
Both. I
Okay.
want to know your thoughts on like
Okay.
this was a big decision to make because it was the most controversial, especially for the Netflix shows. I just want to get your guys' thoughts.
Yeah.
2 points. One, let's just look. Casting a white actor, I think, was foolish on Marvel's part. Here's why. It's not because I don't like Danny Rand the character. I do. I think Danny Rand is a whole bunch of fun. I love seeing him with Luke Cage. And I wouldn't have had a problem with it if we had started with Danny Rand. But when you're building a team and you're trying to tell a new story within the same dynamics as the other three you've already established, each of these stories has, as we've talked about earlier, really strong cornerstones of like culture and community and individual like pursuits of really like just great feats. Like it's not nobody has simple tasks in which to conquer. Whereas Danny in the first 2 episodes is like coming back. He's pretty confident he's going to get his money back, and he's coming back. There's just nowhere to connect with Danny like we connected with our 3 previous heroes. And I think that's where they made the mistake. Not necessarily because Danny is a white guy, but because we don't get that emotional connection that we get with any of the other 3 heroes. Now, the actor himself, I feel he's been getting lambasted just for taking the role, which I think is foolish. Like, don't harass a guy for taking a part. Like, actors have to work. Even if you're coming from a big series like Game of Thrones, does not guarantee you're going to have a lengthy career. This is much bigger for him than Game of Thrones was. A very small.
He's a star.
He was a tiny little role.
He was Loras Tyrell in Game of Thrones.
Just as the city of Davos.
Yeah, and it which is great, but it's not anything like leading a Marvel show on Netflix. So I'm not at all mad for him for taking the role. However, I really wish a PR person would have sat down with him and said, you don't necessarily have to engage if you're not sure how to speak to a community that is this upset. It's totally understandable why people are upset. Don't have to get in, I don't know. I don't want to get into all the whitewashing stuff, but I feel like maybe, especially when you're talking to like editors of like Nerds of Color website, or people who are actively talking about diversifying the geek and nerd community, listening to them instead of just shouting them down is usually a much better bet, in trying to make connections with them and trying to prove your point. And so I have a lot of mixed feelings.
I can't even imagine what it's like to be in those shoes.
No.
Because as Finn Jones, because we saw Tilda Swinton go through the same thing where it's like these are just actors. They didn't like call for the part. They weren't like, I want to be this. I want to be this. This was like they were cast. They were brought in, and you're right. Like they took this job.
And I don't know if you guys, clearly like I'm the Asian guy on the panel, but like I don't know if you guys read about the whole controversy between Margaret Cho and Tilda Swinton.
Sure did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Tilda, she like I read it. I read that letter that she wrote to Margaret Cho. Like Margaret Cho really made it seem like, oh, she's ignorant. But when I read that letter, she she said every little thing is just like, this is how they try to diversify. This is the character, whatever, and they added Benedict Wong, who is at least going to be in Doctor Strange 2.
Hopefully,
as a
more
character.
fight
in
scenes.
Infinity War, they're expanding his role.
Good,
Yeah,
'cause he was
so I
dope.
mean, so there's at least some there's like a forward vision on that. So, but sorry, like Andrew, and then I got more to say, but you.
As far as casting Finn Jones the person, there's nothing in this first 2 episodes that makes me feel like he is this character. I don't know who he is, and I don't think he knows who he is. And I think that's a big problem, because we go into, like you said, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones knowing exactly what they want, exactly what their struggles are, and we side with them because they are real people. Whereas Finn Jones is like, I'm Batman, where's my money, guys? And we don't care about that.
Why
at
do you
all.
even want your company back? What are you going to do with it?
What is your end game here? He has no end game. His end game is essentially to get his life back, more or less. But does he even want
needs money,
that?
right? He's like, I got no money. I got
Why
no
even
shoes.
leave heaven? So many questions.
exactly.
And we'll
So
talk
we have
more
so
about
many
the
questions,
when we get to 3 and 4. We're going to talk more about what he wants and
Right.
from the company, and what he why he is fighting them for control.
And so but Finn Jones himself, his physicality as a martial artist is all very unconvincing. All the choreography is a little unconvincing. So if Finn Jones maybe just is as a non-martial arts practicing guy was maybe not the best choice. But throwing that out there, like, you can't blame him. Like, dude, Iron Fist. If someone was like, Andrew, you want to be Iron Fist, I'd be like, absolutely. I
can totally be Iron Fist. Let's
do I
do
have
this.
to work out? And they're like, no, stay the way you look right now. You're going to be Iron Fist. I'd be like, oh, cool. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a really misrepresentation of the comic book. I'd be like, oh, that's rad. I get to be Iron Fist. So I get it. And that said, too, though, is the biggest issue that I feel like racially we have with this is the name Iron Fist. Iron Fist sounds like an Asian character from a 70s kung fu movie.
And it is a title that in the line, when you go
Asian
back, like
characters
Immortal
on the
Iron
front of
Fist
this
goes
book.
back through the generations of who was the Iron Fist before,
Right.
with one notable exception that I'm not going to get into, with Orson, who was the Iron Fist before Danny. All Asian of one. I think there were some Japanese and some Chinese ones over the years, but like
What?
Yeah.
No Korean?
I don't know. I can't like.
But the biggest problem I feel like is just that there are Asian characters on this book, and the character's name is Iron Fist. We can't see his face. Why isn't he Asian? Like, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
would that make it worse or?
You know, so like this is what's really interesting for me is that I was excited about this character and I didn't care what color he was, white, this or that, but I started reading more about the controversy. So like as I was watching it, as I actually really started watching it, because I mean, this is what I do. This is why, like, I'm here doing this stuff too, is because I'm looking at it from a perspective of there's a lot of white people on TV, a lot of black, a lot of Latino, not as much Asian, not as much male Asian. So that's why I've started doing this.
Only 4% in the last 6 years.
Yeah, so I have a perspective of like, yeah, more representation, but I'm not such a guy that's always trying to push it on people, like, oh, you always need this guy. Or in this one, I specifically watched it to say, does he have to be white? And I'm like, there's nothing distinguishable to make that he has to be this white character. So like, I do relate to why people are like, this was a chance for Marvel to do something to say, hey, you know what? We'll take a little bit out of the box and we can add an Asian, an Asian character to this. And who knows, like, what kind of they may have isolated a lot of people, or they may have opened a lot more. They could have opened a lot more doors. Because it makes me think back to you guys might all be a little young, but Better Luck Tomorrow. When Justin Lin did that movie as an independent movie, it was like all Asian cast. People didn't really know who these people were. But by the droves, and same thing for me, like all my Asian friends in the industry, we went to the movie theaters together. Now he's got a huge career. So
I just feel like story-wise, we could have done so much more with an Asian character in the role, specifically if he was either like mixed race or if we saw him struggling to, how to put this, we're dealing with otherness and melding two cultures together. Like if you're an immigrant or first or second generation of a country, like that story just resonates so hard with you, and I feel like all of that could have been put into the Danny Rand character and the story would have been that much more interesting to watch, because from my perspective, like I couldn't name you what generation American I am. We've been here for a hot minute, but if you're a first or second generation storyline is something that I'm interested in seeing. That's a story I don't know. It's something that would have really brought me in. I could have been educated in this, and I feel like we missed a lot of opportunities to explore something new. We've seen this story. That's why everyone keeps comparing it to Batman Begins, and that's a little frustrating.
Here's why I think they made this choice, because I do think that this to me is Marvel, and they've been guilty of this on a number of occasions, choosing, like, they get a little almost too long-term thinking when they're planning out shows. So in the case of the Marvel Netflix shows, they are planning for not just this series, but also for Defenders, for Phase 2, for what they're going to do going down the line. And I do think that this show, Iron Fist, would be stronger as a show with an Asian American or mixed race, even better character.
I don't even like that sometimes. I don't like when they do that. I'd rather just have it be, because then to me it's still whitewashing when you do, unless you're talking, and like you're Asian is what I'm saying. Is like, it seems like that's like they do that a lot in television. It's like, well, they kind of be the little Asians, so like they look still more white as opposed to let's just boom, they're just Asian.
The only reason I say that is I think that having that, like that, as Joel was saying, that someone distinctly from two backgrounds, and growing up in that, because this character is the whole point of this character is two backgrounds.
That idea actually came from Marjorie Liu, who's a comic book writer, and she's half Japanese, half American, and she talks about like what it was like going back and forth, and she said that she really wanted to see Danny Rand be biracial, and that exploring coming together and bringing those two worlds, together.
I would have loved to see the character go through like rediscovering his heritage, like like he knows this side of his family, but doesn't know this side of his family, and like journeying into China and finding Kunlun is finding that. Yeah, that would have been a very interesting story. Why I think they went with this, why I think they made this decision is they're looking ahead at what I have to assume is coming, a Heroes for Hire show. I really want to see a Heroes for Hire show. I want to see Luke Cage and Iron Fist hitting the streets. Yes. And the reason that I think that they went with a white guy, and I'm very aware that as a white guy, like I can only have, I know I'm represented everywhere. Maybe not the Jewish part of me, or the Armenian part of me.
Wilson's Armenian?
Parts of you are represented everywhere.
And I understand that. Why I think they went with this is when they do Heroes for Hire, Danny Rand is going to be working with Luke Cage in the Harlem that we set up in Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And part of what I think is going to make that show very interesting to watch and very dynamic is introducing this very, very white guy
Blonde
into
hair,
that
Aryan looking ass.
yeah, into that Harlem.
Okay.
And that's going to cause a lot of tension that is going to make for great television storytelling.
I mean, just from a business perspective, I mean, people know Danny Rand. Like, he's not the most known of the Marvel heroes, but none of these guys are. But he's more known than like any of the other Iron Fists they could have chosen from the series. And with the cartoon that's just come out, kids know him.
Yeah.
So I totally understand from a marketing perspective being like, who are we going to put in there? Like, they got to know
Yeah.
it. I mean, we had the 3 shows before, so...
I don't buy marketing as a reason for it at all. Like, I can understand why that might affect it, but I don't, like, creatively, I say screw you if marketing was why you made the decision.
right.
But from a storytelling perspective, if what you're looking for is to get to Heroes for Hire and get this tension just like right out in front of it at the most extreme it could possibly be, to have a black guy and a white guy who are best friends living in Harlem as like trying to be like, no, hire us to do things. That's a series that I want to see. And I think that that's what Marvel is building towards. They haven't said that yet. That's what I think that they are trying to do. Unfortunately, that means that Iron Fist as a show is not as strong as it could be. And that is a flaw that Marvel has had with stuff like Age of Ultron. They're putting the cart before the horse.
Mm-hmm.
And
they got a big universe to map out, and
they do, and it's
hard.
tough.
I get it.
Very hard.
Like you have a lot of things you're trying to stuff into what is essentially like its own story, and it's I think it suffers a little bit for it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
And we're totally out of time.
Yeah, we're
We are way beyond time.
Way out of
Blew
time.
past the time.
Thank you for bearing with us, though.
But I felt like that was in it. But it's been the primary thing that people have talked about with the
Yes.
show, and I think it was important to
discuss.
address up top. And I want to address it again once we get to the finale
keep talking
and
about
see how we feel at
Afterwards,
that point.
afterwards, yeah.
Yes.
After we've seen the whole show, that's what all the creators and Finn Jones, everyone's been saying. Please just watch
it.
the show.
So we're gonna watch it.
And if we get through the show and we still feel the same way, we'll
at least
That's
have
it
an
then.
informed opinion.
or maybe they'll convince us that it was the right decision all along.
It's possible. I'm open to it.
And we
He's
want to
gonna
know
learn.
what you guys think about all of this, about the episode. What do you think of the villain setup? What do you think of the action so far? What do you think of the discussion that we just had? Put it in the comments below on YouTube, or you can tweet it at us. Leave us a review if you're listening on iTunes. Please do. It helps people find the show. Black Hollywood Live has not done a lot of after shows, so it's a great way to help people find this podcast. Share it, and hit us on Twitter if you do, so that we can retweet you and get back into more Iron Fist conversations.
Absolutely.
Because I'm always down to talk Marvel.
We
We'll
have
never be
to
done
say-
with it.
So you can, as I said, you can tweet the network at BHL Online. You can tweet me personally at Zach Wilson, ThatZachWilson on Twitter and Instagram. Joe?
I'm Joel Monique. Find me all over the internet at Joel Monique, every week at blackgirlnerds.com, and then go over to Schmoes Know Later. We're doing an all-out brawl with all of the movie fighters, so I'll be there later today.
Nice. I'm Andrew Mena. Find me online at Andrew Mena, ANDREWMNA.
And
Slow
I'm Rick
that
Hong.
down.
Yeah, and I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHONG.
Nice.
All right, guys. This has been the BHL After Show for Iron Fist. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.